So welcome to another episode of Tate's Take. In fact, the 21st, I think it is, 21st episode of Tate's Take, where you will get nothing other than the most informational, most educational, best basketball content that you will find around. That's just what it is, Tate's Take. I want to make sure that I preface it all by saying this first and foremost to subscribe. I'm going to consistently, constantly, persistently pound that into the heads of the people who are fans of this show, but not exactly sure how they can kind of keep up with it. Be sure to follow along. We are on YouTube. Go to that search box, the little magnifying glass, hover over it. You'll find Tate's Take. Just type that in, TATE''S TAKE. And of course, that's where basketball lives, as you all know. And just type it right on in and definitely hit the subscribe button. Also follow along anywhere you find your favorite podcast, that being Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Red Circle, the whole nine, anywhere that you find your favorite. Be sure to go ahead and do that. And I've got a couple different things I'm gonna throw around for you guys today. Some at the beginning, some at the tail end, where it's obviously going to be a ton of crap load of nothing but basketball. We've got some college basketball. I guess Jonathan Kuminga last week coming out and making his decision, choosing between Auburn, Texas Tech, Duke, Kentucky, and the G League. We'll talk a little bit about that. I guess that ties into our high school basketball portion. And then, of course, the pro basketball stuff, which is going to be tipping off in less than just 24 hours away with what I call exhibition, with what I call preseason kind of, but I guess that doesn't really make a ton of sense considering the fact that the season has already begun. So it is officially the resumption, and what will take place for the course over the next 7 days starting tomorrow will be scrimmages, I guess. Air quotes, of course, is what we're calling it now. But nonetheless, last but certainly not least, want to let you guys know, coming up at 7:15, and yes, just 6 minutes, a little behind here, but we're going to make sure that we cram everything, if there's even a such thing, all of our basketball content into one. 7:15, got my dude Iron Mike Dyson. If the name sounds familiar, then that's for a good reason. But wait until y'all see my boys fro, man. I hope you don't try and hide it underneath that old English D hat. So we'll check in with him. He's going to give you guys everything that you need to know, everything that you need to expect in regards to the NBA. There's going to be tipping off and what you'll see over the course of the next, starting tomorrow, but obviously next Thursday, and all those special dates on the 30th, which is the official date for that. So with that being said, let's dive right on into it. I got so much stuff that I really want to cover here with you guys. I think one of the main things is that this is one of the reasons why I'm really excited to see what's going to take place within the NBA and it resuming. And I want to get this out of the way first. This is one of the things I'm more excited about. And a lot of people probably won't understand why. Now, my cousin Keith, me and him, we have a nice little friendly bet going over that started at, I think, at the beginning of the season, or very, very early into the beginning of the season, where I told him we'll make a $50 bet that the Indiana Pacers will finish, is it in the top four? And I know he'd probably be the one saying, looking at the podcast right now, like, no, don't try and change the rules or the terms to the bet. But I can't remember if he said top five, I want to say. I think you want to say that they won't finish in the top five of the East. However, I think it's going to be in the top four. So I said out of 8 selections, the Indiana Pacers will finish in the top four. And obviously you got the Milwaukee Bucks in that conversation. You've also got the Toronto Raptors, who's on an outstanding streak so far. I think they finished the season all the way up until this point on like a 14 or 15 game win streak, if my memory serves me correctly. And then you have the Boston Celtics is also right there, but Indiana's not too far behind. I'm not sure exactly if they can catch up mathematically. Nonetheless, I do think that they certainly have a shot, and not just a shot to just make it within the top 4 seed in the East, but also to make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals as somewhat of a dark horse. So as I make sure and all this is going to look really bad, but I got to make sure that my boy Iron Mike Dice got his way onto our show. And of course, this looks really bad from an optics standpoint, but y'all bear with me. We're going to make all this stuff happen because I know he got some really awesome, outstanding information for you guys that, you know, he broke down to me a little bit of how this stuff is going to work with the NBA inside the bubble, outside the bubble, some of the concerns that the NBA maybe has had, or more than anything, probably that he himself has with the NBA resuming. And so I think that a lot of that information is going to be something that we can all kind of look forward to and keep our eyes and our ears open for, so that we know exactly what's going on. Because as it seems, there really hasn't been like a ton of, like, I know for a fact this is the way that things are going to go. We don't know. Like, I am one of the people that is of the assumption that there is going to be a startup for the NBA, obviously, being next Thursday. But I don't think that we're going to finish the season. I think there's going to be some test positive. Of course, I'm not trying to wish that upon anybody, because if you know me, you know that I need basketball in my life probably more than anything else. But nonetheless, yet still, I got a feeling that there's going to be some people breaking rules inside and outside of the bubble. And by the way, what I will say, and I want to tease it by saying this, me and Shaquille O'Neal did agree on something. I'll tell you exactly what that is here in a second, but I'm just not really sure that it's going to work out. And the NBA is under a whole lot, like a crap load of pressure, because if things don't work out, I have a really good feeling that this is going to be something that spills over onto some of the other leagues in coming back. I know baseball is kind of somewhat officially underway, but whether college football or the NFL is going to come back, and I really think that the prime example of how this could actually work or not work is going to fall on the shoulders of the NBA, fortunately or unfortunately. So we'll see exactly if it's a good idea. But there just still seems to be so much up in the air. And speaking of up in the air, what I teased to you, in which I agree with Shaquille O'Neal on when he made the comment of this: snitches get stitches. By the way, that Victor Oladipo thing, in the event that he comes back and makes his return to the Indiana Pacers, I just want to make sure I say this full disclosure. In the event that he makes a full return to the Indiana Pacers healthy, you got Malcolm Brogdon, you've got bigs, you've got experience, depth, veteran leadership, and I think they can do it, especially this guy named, I'm going to say Arvydas Sabonis. Of course, that's not his name, but the younger Sabonis. I think they can obviously play some really big roles and parts in the front court for what they need there in Indianapolis with his contribution and physicality, something similar to like a Steven Adams. But I agree with Shaq with saying that the snitches get stitches. That's just kind of, I guess, the term or the quote that I've always kind of come up and been around, I guess. And just learning that that's the way that it goes as I grew up in my youth. And I say that as it regards to this new violation protocol, I guess, what they have called, what I call the snitch line. I think they call it the tip line in the NBA, but I call it the snitch line. I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like that's kind of like babying some of the NBA players, which is essentially not what this league needs, especially right now. This is a big boys league. This is a grown man's league. You're getting paid big boy and grown men money. So the expectations are to for you to be held accountable. We have to start holding one another accountable for the decisions that we make, because leaving outside of the bubble is not just affecting you, but it's also affecting your peers. And if these guys that are bare minimum, 18 years old, 19 years old, all the way up to the oldest player in the league, I guess Vince Carter's not in the league anymore. He did 22 years, age 42. So I'm not sure who the oldest player in the league is anymore. However, you know, I like to think of it as these guys are still old enough, despite how old you are, and knowing all the rules and the regulations of when you are leaving the bubble to go elsewhere, to either not make that decision or make sure that because you are affecting other people, that you are fully healthy and in position. I know that there's going to be some people who's not going to side with this. I know that there's been some conversations about who's the person that's doing the snitching, who's the person that's calling in on the tip line. And I heard that Chris Paul's name was one of those people that were brought up. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I'm not sure exactly what he gets out of that. Maybe, and I don't want to put myself in Chris Paul's shoes because I can't imagine that, if you don't have that snitching bone in your body, then I can't imagine exactly why you would go and do it. Like, I don't know how this benefits him. But if I had to think of just one reason behind why somebody like a Chris Paul, and this is just hypothetically speaking, because I don't know if really he is at fault for this, but I hear that he's the accuser for calling in on those snitch lines, is the simple fact that in the event that he's going to meet up with some of these teams that has players on it that are leaving the bubble, snitching on them to assure yourself that they won't be able to play on the back end might help your chances if you want to advance on to the next round and you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's pretty much the only thing that I can think of behind it. Not saying that that's a good reason, but nonetheless, that's just what it is. I'm just not a fan of the snitch line. I just think that everybody's old enough to know the to-dos and what not to-dos. But I definitely wanted to get in on some of that because I'm just really not a fan of the snitch line. And I couldn't agree more with Shaquille O'Neal by saying that snitches get stitches. And so want to remind everybody of exactly what it is that you are watching. Of course, that being Tate's Take with DeShaun Tate. What other place would basketball live than to live right here, where we're going to bring my boy on here in a second, Iron Mike Dice, to talk a little bit more about some of this NBA stuff. We still got plenty of college basketball, talking about Memphis, talking about the Michigan Wolverines, ironically enough, that we have Mike Dyson coming on tonight. But just want to, touch on some of that stuff. Jonathan Kuminga, again, as I mentioned. So I want to touch on quite a bit of that stuff throughout the duration of the show once we send Mike Dyson out of here. But, I definitely want to be sure that we get in some of that stuff, and also including some comments by Josh Hart, a guard from the New Orleans Pelicans. Even get in some stuff about the Milwaukee Bucks. How much do you believe in them? The Toronto Raptors, Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're going to get into some awards, all kind of stuff. But first, let's get into this, man. My dude entering the locker room. Let me make sure I get his graphic up there, because I know if I don't, I'm gonna be hearing all kind of bad names and all kind of stuff rolling my way. So this is what we call Roll the Dice with Iron Mike Dyson, who's a podcast host. Follow him on social media, Twitter as well as IG. Call it the Gram. Whatever the cool kids are calling it nowadays on the social media. And this dude always got me lighting up like a Christmas tree. Iron Mike Dice, got the floor, bro. What's popping?
Tate, my main man. Number one, I'm leaving the locker room. I'm entering the stage. Okay, I'm on the big Tate stage right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I feel bad for your viewership, man. You was at like 15, 20 people. As soon as I got in the room, it went down to like 3 people watching right now, man. I'll be quick, bro. I know I need a haircut and everything, get my shave on, man. But always great to be here, man. Good to see you, Doc. I was listening to some of the show, and I think the younger Sabonis was Domantas Sabonis you're talking about for the Pacers. That's number one. And then number two, bro, let me come down to Florida and see you walking around just leisurely and cavalier with no face mask, no gloves on, nothing. I'm on that hotline, bro. I'm calling up Adam Silver himself, bro. Like, yo, commish, I seen D Tate walking around, you know what I'm saying? No face mask, no nothing, bro. When it comes to health is wealth, bro. I'm not mad. Now, I don't subscribe to snitching. I'm like you, bro. Snitches get stitches.
I was gonna say, are we gonna change your name to Snitching Mike Dyson instead of Iron Mike?
Nah, man. But when it comes to certain things, though, bro, there are exceptions for certain things, man. And health, that's one of it. And it's just not like you're trying to look out for your own personal health. Your health can affect, your family members, your loved ones, your children, and so forth, man. So it's a bigger deal than on the surface, though, bro. But yeah, I'm here to talk about, the NBA resumption, bro. We back, man. We here. Glad to hear it, man. As I'm sure you told, your listeners and your viewers that we're going to start tomorrow between the 22nd and the 28th. We're going to have the seeding games, well, not seeding games, scrimmages, bro. Now I'm sure you already told your viewers that it's basically like a glorified, preseason or exhibition game. But because the season technically already started and commenced, it can't be a preseason or exhibition, man. So technically, it'll be called and labeled a scrimmage, but it'll have that same feel as an exhibition. That's just all aimed to get the players back in shape, man. As you already know, they're coming off a 4-month layover. They're kind of out of shape and so forth. And you could be in regular shape, man, but it's another thing to be in basketball NBA shape, So, and I think the quarters are going to be like 10-minute quarters, no more than 5 or 6 games per day, starting tomorrow through the 28th, man. And then we're going to get into the actual season resumption on the 30th, bro. Can't wait.
Dude, I'm excited about it. I know you're excited about it. I've got my question marks or some things that's throwing up some red flags a little bit as to whether they really should or shouldn't resume the season. But hey, listen, that's what I'm gonna leave that up to the people who get paid all the big money to make those kind of decisions as to whether they should or shouldn't come back, because they understand the health and the severity of everything that these players are going to be facing. Like with these 10-minute quarters and bringing them back to play, is that going to be enough time? Because they haven't had an opportunity to find a place to go and play with so much stuff being closed down, depending on what city or state that they live in. So I can only imagine how difficult that's going to be to go from playing basketball over what I would say probably about 60-something games. I think we got all the way up to that point. And then completely shut down out of nowhere, and then you're off for multiple months, and then you only have 3 games, or how many games do you have until the actual season resumes?
It's definitely 3 games, man. Those are great points, man. It's just so many things.
Not many, Dice.
No, at all, bro. It's just so many things to unpack what you just said, bro, in terms of the health, the COVID, and just getting back in shape, and just getting back in the whole flow of the situation, and other things that I heard today, which was a concern, an ancillary concern, man, but concern nonetheless. A lot of executives are worried about, super teams being formed, bro. They're worried that because a lot of the players have an opportunity to fraternize and, be in close quarters with each other, playing games, ping pong, cards and so forth, that's actually like a recruiting tool. So a lot of like executives are fearful. Yeah, I know, right?
Is that what we doing, bro?
A game of spades, man, may turn into a super team, bro. You never know, man.
Well, as crazy as that may sound, like we're gonna go from literally having spades partners to like now all of a sudden, who knows what kind of conversations and deals is gonna be made to where guys are gonna want to play on the same basketball team together, especially with free agency and everything else gonna be coming up really soon. Mm-hmm. I don't understand what kind of sense it made for there to be, because I know we had a conversation one time about the guys playing ping pong together. You can't play doubles, so you can only play singles and ping pong. I'm not kind of sure what sense that makes, that you can't play doubles, but you can go play on the same basketball court with 9 other guys. And you're gonna, more, bodily contact amongst other things, sweat, perspiration, everything else. So a lot of that stuff really just doesn't make sense to me.
On the surface, that makes sense. I mean to cut you off, bro. That sounds like an argument that the football players had. That okay, we can like play, but we can't exchange jerseys at the end of the game. They're like, well, what sense does that make? We're in like close proximity with each other, and that all makes sense. And I agree with you guys, man. But like, I guess it's just limiting opportunities though to get the COVID virus. So if doing everything you do, constitutes like 99 things or ways to catch COVID, you don't want to add on 4 or 5 other ways to catch COVID. You know what I'm saying? So if you have like 95 ways to catch COVID, you don't want to increase those ways to like 105 to 106 ways to catch COVID. You know what I'm saying? But I feel what you're saying, though.
None of it is really making sense. And I think that is perfect for right now in 2020, where we're living in a world and having a year where nothing seems to make sense. So just for 2020, I'm going to do the folks this favor. I'm going to have a shot of sweet tea.
Hey,
I'm getting a little parched, bro. I'm going to tell you what we're going to get into here in just a second. Check this out.
got the healthy juice. Okay. Speaking
That
of healthy,
makes sense.
one more thing though, T-Tate.
No
It was
doubt.
announced today too, bro. Since July 13th, since the initial testing for COVID, I think over 300 players that took the COVID test came back with negative results. So that's a good thing.
Hey, so not one single person
Not a
came
one.
back
No,
positive.
correct.
Okay. Now, before we start getting into some stuff that happened within the Atlanta Hawks today, let the folks know how this seems to, from what you're hearing in regards to how this is working with the whole, if you leave the bubble, how much time do you have before you can come back? How long do you have to be quarantined? Because everything that I've been under the assumption of hearing, which has been so many things, so I'm not sure if there is an official word. You may know more, but I'm hearing that guys that leave the bubble, which we've seen Zion Williamson do it, Kabaklo has done it, Rashawn Holmes has done it, Montrezl Harrell has done it, and just for different reasons. And I'm not sure if the reasons themselves have any kind of effect or if it has to be approved by the NBA or whatever, as to how soon they can come back or what the protocol is for that. However, what I'll say is that, I was told that 8 to 10 days of quarantine was going to be mandatory, minimum of 8. I've also heard up to 14 days. I'm not great at math. I tell you all the time, if you ask me what's 2 plus 2, I'll probably tell you 22, not 4. But I'm hearing up to 14 days being 2 weeks that they could be sitting out. There's so much stuff being tossed around. Before we get into the Atlanta Hawks and what they a reveal that they made today, is there an official word on this whole when you come back from COVID thing?
That's a great point. Great question, DT. It's so fluid right now in regards to like the mandates, the policies, and the protocols and so forth. Initially, so let me just break it down for what I believe I understand to be true and correct. Initially, when the players arrive to the bubble, everybody's required to have a 14-day quarantine. You know what I'm saying? Just isolate yourself for 14 days, then take your test. Okay. If you become, negative, if your test results, negative, then you're good to go. But that point thereafter, if you have to leave, for whatever reason, and the only reason you can leave the bubble and come back, under 14 days, it has to be a league exempt, reason, like a medical reason or something commissioned by the commissioner, Adam Silver. He has to give you like a special reason or an excuse or exemption to leave. And when you come back, so say for instance, like Zion Williams, he's supposed to be going, if he leaves for like 5 or 6 days, he'll have to come back and quarantine or isolate himself for 5 or 6 days after taking another coronavirus test. You know what I'm saying? So basically, if you already corona negative and you get an excuse to leave the bubble, however many days you leave is how many days you have to quarantine and isolate yourself and be away from like team, facilities and team participation and so forth, considering you pass the COVID test. So, if Zion comes back, in 5 days and he comes back and takes a test and he comes back with a negative corona test, he'll have to take an additional 5 days to isolate and quarantine himself.
Dang, bro. Like, I really got a feeling there's so many little asterisks and so many little, fine print, so much fine print and different stuff like that in regards to how all this stuff is going to work. And I guess it's necessary just depending on how much you want basketball. And we're going to find out exactly how many people are invested in knowing this stuff or invested in their teams, because all this stuff is going to be highly critical. If your team is one of the 22 that you represent or that you cheer for from your sofa, if you root for one of those teams in 22, these are things that you actually need to know. You may think that it doesn't have anything to do with you. Well, when those bookies, when you get to calling them bookies or you start going out to Vegas or you want to place some bets online or whatever the case may be, these are things that you actually need to know before you mess around and put your money up. And then you comes to find out that somebody left and now they got to be quarantined and so on and so forth. This is almost essentially going to be like, I thought that we had it bad with guys that were taking advantage of, what do you call it, with the guys sitting out and
damn, man. Oh my
really
god,
hurt or not?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Go ahead. Finish your point though.
Just taking advantage of the rule of whether you can come back and play or whatever. Like, I thought that was bad. You know what I mean? Like, but now we're looking at a whole different situation. We're talking about quarantine and so forth. So I wonder how the quarantining and how the effect of leaving the bubble and so forth is going to come or is going to affect who's going to take advantage of actually sitting out of games without being hurt or having an excuse or reason to take advantage of it. So I'm just trying to figure out. It just seems like a bunch of stuff that just is like wash, too much to keep up with in some cases. But I guess that's
load management.
Load management. My boy, load management. I don't know why that was so hard for me to figure out. But with that being said, something else happened. This happened.
Ooh, as fashion style. I love it.
That happened. The
great
fashion,
topic,
the fashion
I love
as
this
well.
Yeah.
That happened. So as you can see to the left, and I don't want to get all into the specific of the colors, but what it clearly looks like to me is what Trey is wearing, a red uniform, white numbers and letters outlined in yellow. John Collins in the middle, which is different from the other two because you do see in the top left-hand corner of his uniform a Jumpman logo, a black uniform with yellow lettering and numbers outlined in red. And then you see Kevin Huerter with the white, or is that a very, very light gray? I haven't figured that one out yet, but uniform with red lettering. And then, of course, sketched out or trimmed in yellow itself. So I don't know. I want to get your opinions on it, Dyson. Of course, the people always feel free to leave a comment below with your questions and your opinions, maybe concerns, suggestions of what the Hawks should have done. One thing that I can say when looking at this, though, Dice, is that I'm happy that they went away with the vote green. I told you earlier today, bro, and this is just me. I don't know this to be a fact by any means, and I don't want to get caught in the crosshairs of it, but we're here to tell the truth and speak our mind. I thought that the vote green was corny.
Yeah.
I thought that the vote green may have been a representation of trying to get the fan base comfortable with accepting homosexuality. And that's just kind of the way that I feel about it and felt about it. And I'm not sure that it looks Atlanta. Like when I'm looking at some of this stuff, does it look Atlanta? I don't think that the lime green and all that kind of stuff. I like the Pac-Man. And I'll let you say this. What you did say one thing, which is kind of like a less is more, and I'll let you expand on that a little bit more. But I would have been cool with just, and you don't see it on any of these logos, I don't think. Okay, so look down here at the bottom right-hand corner, and you'll see the Pac-Man logo. Okay. I would have been okay with if you had that to replace Atlanta, to replace Hawks, all of that, and you just put that Pac-Man logo right in the front of the jersey and then just put the number underneath. I would have been cool with that. I think the NBA did something like that for like Christmas one year or something similar, or All-Star or something similar to that. What's your take on what you see right here with the Atlanta Hawks new uniform?
Wow, so many things. Number one, I like them. Like you previously said,
do you love them though?
I don't love them, bro. See, I don't know if it's because Atlanta hasn't had much of a successful history in the NBA, championships and stuff like that. That's playing in my mind. I've always been the kind of person. The more successful team is, the better they look on the field or on the court, though. You know what I'm saying? Their uniforms look better. The colors look better, but when teams stink it up, the whole aesthetic looks bumming to me and trash, bro. But that Hawks jersey right there, the three colors, less, like you said, less is more to me, bro. I love it, man. Red and black, keep it real simple. You mentioned the vote green, being kind of like something to appeal to like Atlanta's homographic, demographic. Or homophobic demographic. I would have said that if their colors were rainbow, but I always took like the vote green as like an homage or a tribute to the old like Pistol Pete days. So I think in the Pistol Pete days, their colors were like blue and green. So I always took that like vote green as like a tribute to the old Pistol Pete days, man. I do like it though, man. I do like your idea as well. You just said something about taking the whole logo and replacing it with the city plate and the name of Atlanta. I like that too, but instead of like doing that, just have Atlanta up, and then instead of one of the A's, have the Pac-Man sign right there. So say ATL then the Pac-Man sign as the other A, the NTA. That'll be something fresh like that too, though, man. But less is more. I like it. We talked about this earlier, D-Tape. You know, like in the late 90s, you had like the old Memphis Grizzlies jerseys, the old Toronto Raptors jerseys, the old Grant Hill, Detroit Pistons jerseys. Those were whack to me. Like at the time, I thought they were going overboard, but in retrospect, you go back and look at them, and like, man, those jerseys were fire. I love those Pistons jerseys. I love those Damon
the turquoise with the horse on it.
Well, there you go, the turquoise and the teal. Exactly, there you go, man. And like you brought the whole Steve Smith Hawk jersey with the big hawk going across the top, man.
Stretched out.
Yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite one, where it was like red and then diminishing into black, or was it black diminishing into red, whatever it was. Yeah, I like those the best ones. Those are the best ones to me.
Those were dope. That's a top 5. I definitely have to go with the old Dominique Wilkins Pac-Man. You know what I'm saying? Just that whole red and yellow and white. Even though back in the day, I always thought their color scheme reminded me like Ronald McDonald, bro. Like that's some Ronald McDonald colors right there, man. But I do like the new jerseys though, bro. Less is more. It's kind of like a best of both worlds. You can see like the modern aspects to the jersey, like a throwback tribute, you know what I'm saying, from the past. So I definitely like them. You had rate these jerseys 1 through 10. I'll give them 8.2.
Okay, 8.2. 8.2. That's a real Iron Mike snitching Mike Dyson answer right there, bro. 8.2.
Yeah,
you got to get the 0.2 in there. And you mentioned the Ronald McDonald, cuz got me kind of hungry for some fresh fries. The hot boys from the Mickey D's. I'm talking about the hot ones. Like when I go through the drive-thru, I'm the difficult dude. And believe it or not, I'm sitting here with the TV on in my house right now. And as soon as I just mentioned it, it just came up. I'm gonna have to go. I had to make me a little
signs, bro. It's the sign.
It's the signs, bro. It's the energy. Something in the air. So I don't know about you, bro. I go through the drive-thru and I specifically, yes, I am that dude that has to be very detailed, bro. But I gotta let them know I want a large fry. And guess what? I want them hot. I let them know off rip. If I have to sit and wait after you pay your money and they say pull up, I don't mind pulling up for 8 minutes or however long. I used to work at McDonald's, so I know how this works. I don't mind pulling up for a minute, bro, just to get my fresh hot fries. Just to make sure they hot. Don't try and play me. I might have to tell you I want to order a fries without salt on them, boys, just to make sure that you put the fresh ones in there. And then I ask you for a couple salt packets on the back end. We got my boy.
Game for free.
Hey,
I like that.
Free right there, baby. Game for free. Got my boy Iron Mike Dyson with me, man. Cuz might look like he from Cali right about now with the fro, like the Easy E back in the day in the 80s where they had the hat over the fro.
Dope boy. Exactly. But I'm dope boy. I got the D hat though, man. I'm a boys in the hood though, bro. I'm a dope boy, man. You funny.
You give it an 8.2.
How about you? What you say?
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to give these boys right here that high. I know we only got you probably for about 5 to 10 more minutes, about 10 more minutes of Iron Mike Dice, bro. But I can't, I don't even think this makes a 7 for me, bro.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think it's closer to 7.
What about
it's closer to 7 than it is a 6. I'll probably give it like, I want to say probably a 6.5, a 7 at very best, but I think that might be a little bit too much. I think it's just plain. I just think, and I'm okay with plain. Like I'm good with plain because I like to think I'm more of a plain person. But I think in these situations where, I think you need the logo somewhere, or you put it on the back above the neck or something. I don't know, but I'm okay with the Hawks. I'm okay with Atlanta, I guess. It's just maybe it's the yellow. I think it's the yellow that throw me off. Like sometimes I think when a team adds too much color, like that was my issue with the lime green, but in this they just replaced the Vote green with the yellow, and I'm just not a fan of the yellow. I think if there's going to be anything, it should be the typical what you see when you think of Atlanta, what you see when you think of Braves, what you see when you think of Falcons, Georgia, football and stuff, or Georgia UGA. It's red, white, black. I think if your last color is going to be a color, I think it should be black. I know at one time they did try to do the navy blue at one point in time when they had a really, really good season. Thinking, what was that, like 2015 or something like that with Paul Millsap and all those guys. That's when they had a little bit more of the navy blue in there. But I'm just not a fan of the yellow, man. So I just want to throw that in there.
Dominique Wilkins, his jersey, they had like the yellow numbering. Were you a fan of the Hawks jerseys then? The Dominique?
I'm trying to think. It did have the yellow, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe if they added the yellow, but just the way that it was at that time, like that did look that just
Look
looking
natural.
at it with the eyes, it looked better than
Okay.
the format that they have these Hawks jerseys. Like I feel like these particular ones, if you was gonna keep the lettering and the numbering like that and all that, like I feel like this shouldn't have been yellow. But the other ones, the old school ones, does look you know.
All right. So apparently my man D Tate logged out inadvertently. So I'm gonna go ahead and be a real trooper, a real partner, and go ahead and continue the show while he logs back on, man. But I don't know what D Tate is thinking about, man. The Hawks have always had some kind of a spectacle of yellow in their jerseys, bro. So that's dope to me. But also on those jerseys, you can see the oh wow. Oh yeah, and also in the jersey, you can see like the Jordan logo, the Jordan emblem on the side. If a lot of people didn't know that Jordan is selecting certain teams to sponsor this year for the Black Lives Matter for the remainder of this season, they're gonna have like Black Lives Matter and other messages specifically sponsored by Jordan. So shout out to Michael Jordan for stepping up his social awareness game. He was always maligned and criticized for not stepping up and speaking out for social issues, but he definitely picked up the ball and did his thing, this summer. So anyway, this is the Tate's Take show. I'm gonna go ahead and log out. I'll give him a couple minutes. I know all his viewers are anxiously awaiting to see the return of D Tate. But yeah, man, tomorrow return to the NBA season. Where the scrimmages are going to be great. The season starts July 30th. We're going to have seeding games or playing games, and basically all those remaining 8 games are going to lead into like a first time the NBA has done this, like a play-in tournament. And basically the play-in tournament is going to determine, the 8th seed. So you're going to have like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 teams per conference battling for that last possession in the conference playoffs. So that's going to be interesting. I think D-Tate, here he is. Okay. There you go. Hey, man, the numbers went down, bro. The numbers went down. We was at 20. As soon as you left, it said, Zoo.
I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it. And we all
numbers
know
went down. Hey, the numbers, now they back up. Now we see D-Tate, the numbers back up now.
Technical difficulties, man. We all know that things happen, and that just goes to show you that what we do right here, right now is authentic. You know that we give you nothing short of the very best, maybe not audio and visual quality sometimes, but when it comes to the basketball content, when it comes to the most informational, educational, that's what we do right here. We're going to keep Dice right here with us, man, because another thing that I wanted to talk about with you was some of the NBA awards and anything else NBA that I wanted to kind of get into. But let the people know how they're going to be doing the NBA awards this year, because, again, it's been so much of a crazy and just a wacky season in general.
Right.
What do you know in regards to how they're going to be conducting the awards or awards ceremony or whatever, what have you?
All right. So today the league announced that they're going to open up awards, voting for awards right now between the 21st, July 21st and July 28th. Mm-hmm. They're trying to veer away from considering these little playing games and these bubble games as a part of the first part of the season. They're trying to get all the voters to consider only the first 3 quarters of the season before the quarantine and the postponement. They want all the voters to consider that portion of the season when voting for the awards. So it's going to start between now and conclude on the 28th. And during the the resumption and heading into the playoffs, the game announcers will announce the award winners. Now it's crazy because they're trying to stray away. They want to give everybody a fair shot. They say only 22 teams are coming to the bubble. It's not fair to the other 8 teams. One could argue with the other 8 teams that are not participating in the bubble. They don't have any award candidates anyway. There's nobody for the Pistons, fighting for MVP. Nobody for the Chicago Bulls, jockeying for Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I'm saying? So You could
But
argue that.
I told you how I felt earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There is a dude who I think has a very legitimate chance to be up for most improved player in the league.
Okay.
And that being Devontae Graham of the Charlotte Hornets. Now,
big facts.
I don't know how you feel about dude, but he has been like after I seen him a couple games. All right, that was dope, but he ain't gonna keep it up. And then I see him do a little bit more, and I'm like, cuz been pretty hot. But
Bro, he's like Kimba. He's like Kimba with braids. He's like Kimba with braids, bro.
Like I'm on the tip where it's like, if I had to guess, that ain't gonna last long. And he keep doing it, and then I'm like, dang, I'm starting to kind of eat my words a little bit, cuz keeping it going. Next thing you know, he just rolling like that. It's kind of, I'm gonna tell you what it remind me of. It reminded me of the first time I saw Luka. I was like, he pretty dope, but this ain't about to last. And then it was like, he keep doing it. That's what's up. But I don't get a good feeling about it. And then it just keeps happening. It's like, shut the F up. You know what I'm saying? Like the more and more that you keep on doubting, the more and more you keep being proven wrong. So it's probably best to just be quiet. Like he had that kind of effect. I'm not saying he played like Luka Doncic. I'm just saying that he did have that kind of effect on me because that's how much I believed in him coming into the league. And that's just full disclosure, complete honesty, full transparency, you know? And so I think he can be up. What happened?
So with the big words, full disclosure, transparency. Look, boy.
Look. When the day that you decide to throw the rice, tie the knot, jump the broom, exchange the vows, and you're gonna have iron dice on your line, you'll pick up some words from time to time, bro. When you talk to the homie that often to where he one of your closest homies, you'll pick up a couple words here and there. You might not be able to spell them, but you'll be able to pick up a couple words.
Nah, you can spell and be champ, bro. But to keep everything serious, though, you made some great points, man. Graham was on fire. Like, he's on fire. He had a couple game winners this year. He had clutch shots. It was consistent, and it feels like, or it appeared to be that he played off of that cynicism, off that doubt. Like people like you, like he heard the details out there, people doubting him and saying, "Oh, okay, he won't keep it up. It won't last. He can't be as good as Kemba," and then motivating him. That's how it seemed in his style of play. You know what I'm saying? His consistency, man. But besides D Graham, which is an excellent choice, and I think he'll probably finish up second in that award. But besides though D Graham, who else is out there that's sitting at home right now, a part of the 8 teams, would you consider for like any like award besides D Graham?
Give me the 8 teams. I don't think there's nobody out there for the Pistons.
Nobody. No Charlotte.
No Charlotte outside of Graham.
No Atlanta.
No Atlanta.
Well, actually, I mean, for Luka and speaking of Luka and Trae Young, you could argue they could be most improved players, bro, because Trae averaged 18, 19 his rookie year, which is a great year. 19 a game, his rookie year is great. But that boy averaging like 29 this year. That's like a 10-point improvement, bro. That's
for sure. And even on the assist tip. My first question to you, isn't Dallas a part of the 22 teams or no?
They are.
Okay, so he could definitely be in that conversation. And I'm not saying that Trae wouldn't be worthy of being in that conversation, but one reason behind why I think that Trae wouldn't be, or 2 reasons behind why I think Trae wouldn't be, not saying he wouldn't deserve it, but number one, because he's more of a high-profile player than somebody who's going up for a most improved. Those are typically players that you didn't really have high. It's positioned to be players that you really didn't have high expectations for, and it kind of came out of nowhere on the scene and did well. And that's not Trae. And I think that's not that. I think that's a compliment to Trae because he was expected to do well, and he has done well. And he's been consistent. But if we add him, then we're gonna have to start adding a whole lot of other players to the list, just because of their status. And outside of that, unfortunately, not saying I agree with this because it should be an individual award, but because the Hawks had such a poor year this year, awards such as typically don't go to players where the teams had poor seasons. Basically.
Right, that's a fact. So look, that's a fact, and I'm just freestyling a couple names for players since we're talking about most improved. Most of the players I'm thinking of, they did not play on the team that's not contending for playoffs. Like Brandon Ingram, he He's in the contention right now for bubble, but he had a great year improvement. Luka
That's a good
Doncic,
one, bro.
yeah,
That's a
Devontae.
Brandon Ingram.
Thank you,
That's
Devontae Graham, your boy Bam Adebayo should consider votes. SGA, my man, Shy Gilgeous Alexander. We said Trey, Malcolm Brogdon, maybe, and Jaylen Brown, bro. So I think those are your main people that's contending. And one more too, bro. And we talked about it earlier. Even though he won the last year, your boy Pascal Siakam, man, he had like a nice little 7-8 point jump in his
but
average.
he won it last year.
All-star. Yeah, he did. I'm just throwing it out there.
I ain't feeling it, bro. No, I ain't with that, bro. I'm not with it. I'm gonna tell you what he has to do for me before we start talking about moving forward with the awards. I'm gonna tell you what he has to do for me, because everybody's talking about Toronto being disrespected and all this other type of stuff. People need to be believers in Toronto. I know you're one of the people that said that you had Toronto, potentially going far in the playoffs. Not saying that they couldn't. I mean, you should. You in the East, but granted, I think that they're gonna miss Kawhi. I don't think that. We haven't seen enough of Toronto without Kawhi in clutch situations in terms of postseason, where it becomes something very different. The game slows down, the possessions slow down, like everything it's different. I'm not a believer in Kyle Lowry like that, and I don't know if that's really saying much to people because of the fact that I wasn't a big fan of Kyle Lowry before, outside of the fact that I think he has the worst body in pro basketball. But top of that, he got that. But I respect him a whole lot more than I did before, and I still don't think that he has what it takes to carry this team on his back the way that, again, he's done a good job of this season. But Pascal Siakam is also in that conversation. I think they're really going to miss Kawhi when it comes down to when games really matter the most. So this 14 or 15 game winning streak is cute, but I just don't think that it's going to be nearly enough. And Pascal Siakam winning that award last year, I think that should. I don't know if it should diminish him from the conversation, because if a Sixth Man of the Year award can go to Lou Williams or Jamal Crawford every year, then why can't a most improved? But a most improved, I feel like your expectations are different the year after versus the expectations of a six-man player of the year a year after. Maybe some people feel like a six-man player of the year shouldn't get it back-to-back years, because if he was that good, then he should be starting. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, a lot of things, man. In regards to the 6 man back to back, I mean, I feel like if that's your designated role, we all have to play our role on the team to be successful. And if your designated role is to be on the sixth off the bench and you do it well, then that's your role. I mean, Kobe Bryant came off the bench for like 3 years in a row because he played it well. It only took a Rick Fox injury for him to come off the bench and never go back, man. So all depends about the situation. Going back to Toronto. And the reasons why you don't like them because of Kawhi Leonard and them not exhibiting, clutch style of play in the playoffs. See, that's the reason why I do feel like they're going to do something well, man. They hear all the talk. Oh, yeah, Toronto was a one-man team last year. You guys can't do it without Kawhi. I think that's giving them motivation. Let's put a chip on their shoulder, and they're out to show everybody that, we're not a one-man team. And if you look at the way, look at their style of play, every night is somebody different, whether it's Kyle Lowry one night, whether it's Boucher or Nick Powell or Siakam or Fred VanVleet or Ibaka or Marcus Gasol. So that team, they remind me of the old school, like a 04 Detroit Pistons team, like not any like superstars, but like a lot of just like well-rounded veterans, hoopers that know how to play and get the job done.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, bro, and there's just a little bit of take for you right here, bro.
Okay.
Since we're talking about it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not feeling. I'm not feeling good about this team. I'm not, and I'm gonna say this much too. Brandon Ingram should be so much of the most improved player over Pascal Siakam, to the point where, if he doesn't get into consideration, if he doesn't win this award, I think that he's going to have such a great, like he's going to be off of blood next year. Like, I really believe that Brandon Ingram has that bone in his body, or can flip that switch within himself and in his game, to where if he does that, he could be a top. And I'm just thinking about who's all on his team. He got ball players on his team.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't played a whole full season with Zion yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he has the potential of being a top 10, top 15 scorer in this league next year if he doesn't get the consideration that he deserves with most improved this year. And I think he's going to prove a lot of what I'm telling you is going to happen next year when the season resumes this year and they get in the event that they get into the playoffs. I love everything I've seen from Brandon Ingram this year, bro. And I take Brandon Ingram over Pascal Siakam. I'm that dude.
So you just had me thinking about top 10, top 15 scores. Where does he land on your top small forwards list right now? I mean, you got LeBron.
I don't know. I'd have to be fair, I'd have to have a list. I'm not going to pick him over like LeBron or in the event, I guess, Luka plays small forward, I guess. I don't know. But
you got Tatum, Kawhi, Paul George.
I mean, Tatum is nice, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to see a little bit more than one season from Brandon Ingram, but I feel like a lot of what we've seen from Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans, he had with the Lakers.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't given that same type of chance to showcase it.
Right.
Maybe some of his aggression, and he does play very lackadaisical and very kind of like he played cool. You know what I'm saying? Some homies play too cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he's definitely been one of them, but that's his game. I don't want him to go outside of that and be somebody else because he won't be nearly. You thought that the Brandon Ingram we saw in LA was looking like a bust after being the number 2 pick. Like, if he would have stuck it out in the same way and under the same system and it just wasn't going to work out, I think that we would have seen it even worse. And even speaking of that, I just want to throw a comment out there. My aunt, where I come from, my neck of the woods, they call it auntie. My auntie, Teresa, said the no salt on the fries must be a Michigan thing. She must have knew I had Dice with me, and they was from Michigan. Either that or because he's wearing the hat. LOL. I'm telling you, let me get no salt on the fries, bro, to make sure they fresh and then ask for some salt pot packets. The most disrespectful thing that there is to probably do to somebody that work at McDonald's. So no disrespect. I appreciate the service and the love. Let me ask you this, Dice, real quick. Because I'm gonna get you up here in the next couple minutes. Then I want to throw some stuff out there about
take your time. I'm glad to be here, bro. Okay.
So, in regards to the Milwaukee Bucks, their postseason woes, failures, have they been resolved? What's the solution? Like, do you? Because I'm one that feels like, yo, they got to do it this year. Like, straight up, there ain't gonna be too many more opportunities that we're gonna keep on making excuses. And I might be willing to give them one more year after this year. I will say that. Let me do that. If they don't do it this year, they have to do it next year. And I'm not saying win a championship.
Go to the finals.
I'm talking about get to the finals. Correct.
Okay.
They've got to do that because I think they made a huge mistake by giving up Malcolm Brogdon. I also think that, you know, the liability that Brook Lopez is on the defensive end, the liability that give me the other Lopez. Robin Lopez is on the offensive end, the combination of that, and maybe it'll balance itself out. But I think that that'll hurt them more than it'll help them in the long run when they're playing up against your Bostons, maybe even Toronto's, Indiana. I just think that that's what will hurt them ultimately. Now, granted, while I feel like the Toronto Raptors, because of Kawhi Leonard on that roster, kind of set the blueprint on what it takes in order to beat them. These other teams don't have a Kawhi Leonard, who's arguably the best two-way player in the league either. So what is your take on the Milwaukee Bucks, and what does Dice feel like he has to see out of Milwaukee when this whole thing starts back up all the way through the postseason this year?
Off top, a reliable and consistent jump shot by Giannis. And that's it, bro, because like you said, last year we saw the blueprint. It wasn't just Kawhi. It was about Toronto stuffing up that paint, blocking the paint, you know what I'm saying, forging the wedge, and not letting him get in the paint and penetrate, bro. Because if you look at most of like Giannis's highlights, bro, he get in the board, take about 2 or 3 dribbles, and at the half court, you take like 2 or 3 steps, and he's just dunking on you, bro. Like I've seen him, like it's been times he'll take like 1 dribble, pass full court, take like 2 or 3 steps, and jump off like by the free throw line, bro. Like he covers a lot of room, you know what I'm saying? So as long as you can like stop that paint, man, clog that paint. That's like the blueprint. So until he can like counter that, bro, with a consistent jump shot, like consistent, not a good one, but a consistent one that's wet, bro. Then I think, I don't have that much confidence in Milwaukee. And like you said, the ancillary parts, man, no Malcolm Brogdon. I like Eric Bledsoe. He's probably a better athlete than Brogdon, but when it comes to like basketball IQ and just like decision making, and as a point guard that's going to like manage the team, I have more confidence in Malcolm Brogdon than Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe sometimes plays out of control, like a eighth grader playing an NBA game, bro, just doing all kind of crazy stuff, man. You know what I mean? So I'm not that sold on them, man. And losing Malcolm Brogdon, I mean, he was like a 50, 40, 90 guy a couple years ago, so he was a consistent shooter. I don't know too many shooters outside of Middleton or Milwaukee that I'm fearful of knocking down that J. So a good thing they do have those Coach Bud. Coach Bud is a great coach, you know what I'm saying? But the East is filled with great coaches. You got Brad Stevens, Spoelstra, you know what I'm saying? Nick Nurse. Like the East is nothing to play with when it comes to the coaching. So everything else has to be on point, bro. And there's no like home court advantage in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're really going to see, like the best teams come to the top of the crop, the cream of the crop, bro. There's no excuses of traveling and airplanes and home court advantage and fans and crowds and so forth, man. So I'm not a big believer until I see Giannis knock down a consistent playoff jumper, bro. I'm not that sold on Milwaukee yet, bro.
That's the part that I do too like about it the most, is that there won't be any excuses of traveling. And being in different time zones or folks going out to party and all that type of stuff. Like there ain't gonna be none of that.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be straight up, you brought it or you didn't. And that's the part I do like about the resumption this year. We were talking about dark horses before. Miami can bust somebody down real quick with their youthfulness. And I mean, when you got a guy like a Bam Adebayo, who's kind of a combination of Kenneth Faried with his motor and shot blocking ability and athleticism of like a Ben Wallace, and strength and determination and fearless. Like it's just, I mean, you got shooters, Duncan Robinson, your boy from U of M. Tyler Hero is I mean, they've got the players. Now, one thing that I did see is that, who is that? Justice Winslow's not over there anymore, right? He's over in Memphis. I did see that they're gonna, I think, lose him for the season. But it'll be interesting to see what comes about with this team, because I think Andre Iguodala, is that who out there?
He's he plays for
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah. So he's in. Yeah, he was in that deal for Winslow. So I think it's really gonna be interesting to find out exactly how all of that is really gonna take place. I think that is just super dope.
And don't sleep on Bam, to your point, bro. Like from like quarters 1 through 3, he's essentially Miami's like ball handler. He's like their playmaker and their facilitator, man. He's like their point forward, bro. So I agree with the whole Kenneth Faried and Ben Wallace comparisons, but he's like their playmaker as well for the first 3 quarters, man. So they got a great team. And we didn't mention Jimmy Butler, bro. He's like the ultimate alpha male. You might not like his game offensive, exactly, man. But every team he goes to, they exponentially play better and are at least a playoff team, though. Yeah, exponentially, bro. But anyway, Jimmy Butler, I think he's one good player away from like Miami really doing damage. I can see them get to the conference finals, but not making the finals, man. But I'm still Toronto and Clippers right now, though, bro, for my finals pick, man. Toronto, LA. Let's get it.
Speaking of Jimmy Butler, he's actually one more report away from being in trouble. I guess security was reportedly sent to his hotel room saying that he was working out too loudly. That's just a Jimmy Butler reference, bro. It's just information since you threw the name Jimmy Butler out there. One last thing while I still got you on here, man, talking about the NBA here on Tate's Take, where basketball lives. Josh Hart came out and had some pretty choice words about this team being the New Orleans Pelicans, saying that the Pelicans would have been a 4 or a 5 seed with a healthy Zion Williamson all year long. I want to get your opinion on that. I mean, a lot of people be trying to discount Zion. And I'm not one of them dudes. I mean, dude is an animal. Dude is a monster. In the 18, 19 games, whatever it was that he played, it was rough for a lot of defenders, and multiple of them when they were trying to stop him 2-on-1, 3-on-1 in a lot of cases, and it just didn't look good or turn out well for them. Do you agree, disagree, or somewhere in between with Josh Hart's comments?
I'm somewhere in between. I definitely feel they will be fully secure in the playoffs right now. They will probably be like a 6 or a 7 seed. I'm not sure as high as 4 or 5 because who are you going to replace? Are you going to replace the Clippers? You're going to replace the Lakers? You're going to replace Houston? You know what I'm saying? Teams of that ilk. I'm not sure if they're on that level yet, but I definitely feel like they will be fully entrenched in the whole playoff scene, man. Zion is a beast, bro. Their whole starting five is awesome, bro. If you think about, Lonzo Ball, former number 2 pick, as you already mentioned, Brandon Ingram was another number 2 pick. Zion Williamson, number 1 pick. Derek Favors was a lottery pick a couple years ago. You still got your boy that everybody gets up on, but every time I see him play, he's productive. What's my man from Chicago went to Duke? Jahlil Okafor. Yeah, man. Like every time, I mean, the knock on him is, he doesn't play defense. Nobody plays defense in the NBA anymore, bro. So like, give that man some time.
Drew Holiday, don't forget about Drew.
I was saving the best for last. I mean, he's probably one of the best defensive point guard. He will lock you up quickly.
Most improved?
No, I would say he's up for defensive player of the year, maybe. Defensive player of the year for like guards. Okay, like all defensive team, first, second, and third team for guards. Okay,
you look at his numbers though, he could maybe be up. I don't know, between him and Brandon Ingram, one of those two from the Pelicans, I can only imagine got to be on that roster. And then you looking at it too, I feel like the Pelicans have nothing but just a ton of former players from Duke and UCLA between J.J. Redick, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday. Oh, God. Who am I missing?
That's it.
I feel like it's another one or two.
Jahlil
Okafor.
Yeah.
It's just crazy just to imagine and just think that, dude. That's wild in itself, talking about heavy basketball tradition. If you ain't got nothing else to add, what you got, Mike?
I'm good, man. I mean, as always, man, glad to be on the show, bro. Glad you were here. Glad you're back, bro. At the place where basketball lives, you know what I'm saying? 24/7, bro. Great topics, man. It's always a blast, bro. So I'm just really looking forward to the NBA season, man. But you asked me all these questions. Like right now, who would be your 2 questions? What's your finals prediction right now? You don't have to give me a winner. Just like the 2 teams you have going to the finals, and then number 2, who's your MVP?
As much as I want to say Lakers and Bucks, I want to throw some because that's an easy one. You know what I'm saying? That's one that everybody's going to say.
If that's what you feel, then pick it then.
I don't hardly ever work out that way, bro. I mean, this could probably be the year that something like that will happen. And why it is very likely that will happen, I don't want to go with that just for the sake of. So I'm gonna go with the old school rivalry. I think I'm gonna go Lakers and Boston. I think I'm gonna go Lakers and Boston on that one. Yeah,
love that.
In commemoration and for Kobe Bryant, bro. I think the Lakers are gonna go ahead and pull it out. As far as MVP, I think that this is definitely a Giannis year. I think he's a back-to-back. I think it's fair. I think it's solid. I don't think it's clear-cut favorite over LeBron, but I think that it is right there. A smidgen as of right now from what we've seen from the beginning of the season all the way up until this point. I think it's him.
I'm torn, D-Tate, because everybody said, LeBron, he goes to the West. He won't do anything. The Lakers won't do anything. And now these boys sitting on top of the standings. And even last year, before he got hurt, on the Christmas game against Golden State, they were like a 3 or 4 seed. You know what I'm saying? So ever since LeBron came to the West and the Lakers, they've been killing it, bro. He's leading the league in assists. And it's his first time in his 17-year career to average 20 and 10, the double-double. You know what I'm saying? So LeBron is doing his thing. Giannis is doing his thing too. I think LeBron is the MVP, but they'll give it to Giannis though, partially because that's the media way of telling LeBron you're good, but you're not as good as Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has 5 MVPs. So as soon as LeBron gets 5, if he wins another MVP, that'll be his 5th MVP. And then that, probably suggest to other people that LeBron and Mike are on the same level. So until you see LeBron get at least another championship, you won't see any more MVPs from LeBron, in my opinion. And that's it. That's all I got,
Interesting
man.
facts, man. Interesting facts, man. The homie Iron Mike Dice, bro. Per usual, you know I love you, bro. Appreciate you for
Yes,
coming
sir.
on and
Always.
showing some love, dude, and just blessing us with your expertise, blessing us with your knowledge. I hope everybody got the pen and the paper out, man, taking some notes and everything, providing us with everything that we need to know for the upcoming NBA season that we're going to see that'll be tipping off tomorrow and then officially next Thursday. Appreciate you, Dice.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was a very like I like to call it and think that it still is always and forever informational, educational. We didn't get a chance to get to everything that we would have liked to on the college basketball scene. However, we do have a good buddy of mine in the works coming up from ESPN. Eric Woodyard is going to be joining us later on this week. Still working on the exact day and time of that. But if you need more information to find out exactly when, let me tell you what to do. Be sure to follow along on social media at Tate's Take Hoops on Instagram, as well as on Twitter. TATESTAKEHOOPS. Hashtag, you know that's where basketball lives. That's where you can keep up with all the newest content of things that are going to be happening and that we'll be talking about on the show. In case you missed some shows, the links will be posted there as well. Be sure to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell your auntie, tell whomever is necessary to subscribe. Your uncle, baby, daddy, cousin, whoever, uncle. That didn't make a lot of sense. That sounded weird. What do they say on Fridays? I'm seeing Friday on my TV screen right now. Sister-in-law, baby daddy, cousin Tracy. Tell your sister-in-law, baby daddy, cousin Tracy to subscribe to Tate's Take, the podcast. Anywhere you find your favorite podcast, that being Spotify, that being iTunes, that being Google Podcasts, that being Red Circle. Also be sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. Just hover over that little magnifying glass that you can locate in the search box. And I know you guys know how to do that. I've seen y'all do stuff typing up real fast on your phones. Find that on YouTube, type in Tate's Take, and be sure to subscribe and tell a friend. Looking forward to the next one of these that we do. For everybody that showed some love, that's going to show some love in the future, sharing this podcast has been praying for me. My Aunt Teresa that checked in with us talking about the McDonald's fries. I hope you guys enjoyed it, where you find the most educational and most informational basketball content in the form of a podcast. Tate's Take, where basketball lives.